Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Okay, 11:01. Everyone on the call, thanks for being on today. Have a great topic in store for you, and I know Randy's going to get to that very soon. Not really much of an update as far from a section side goes. Um, most of our courses are open across the section. I think everyone is back to giving some semblance of instruction, which is nice. One of the things we're going to be trying to throw in here is a few items for you guys to answer some questions in. So during the course of the presentation, or when we have a bit of a gap, I might be asking everyone just to put an answer to a question in the chat box. So if you have access to that chat box, please type in a quick answer for us. And with that being said, unless Nikki wants to add anything, we can turn it over to Randy.
I really don't have anything, Anthony. I'll divert to Randy.
I think you're still on mute there, Randy.
Good morning, everybody. Get situated here. Nikki, were you able to get that?
Yep, I've got it up and ready, so you just tell me when you're ready.
All right. Okay. So I hope everyone's doing well. Today, if you folks didn't see the catalyst last Thursday with Jeff Price and Ted Logan on the PGA .coach. Those of you that are on here, I hope, I don't know, I can kind of see everybody. How many of you are PGA .coach certified? Raise of hands. Cool. So if you didn't see the catalyst, what they're doing now is they're going to be engaging with PGA or PGA.com websites and through the PGA, which is going to help leverage being a certified coach on the PGA.com website. So they're going to be announcing that coming up here in August, and you'll start to see a lot of promotions, advertising that for all the consumers to go to PGA.com and to find a coach near them. So I highly recommend, if you have not done it yet, to go ahead and fill out your profile. So I want to share with you folks some things that we've been doing. What's been cool about it is that all of my schools, everything that we've done with our programs, and I know personally from people that are on this call, have kind of modeled that whole process, or we've been teaching, doing a lot of those things. So that's been really great for us on why I think we've been able to grow the way we have, and for me to have the success, if you will, of opening up all these schools. So I want to share what we've been doing at our schools, and also from a personal standpoint, my own personal travels to get where I am right now, and everything that I've learned. I want to share some of that with you as well. So I've got I put a little presentation here. The PGA.coach. Nikki, can you start?
Yep, I'll get that up in just a second.
Okay. So those of you on the call that have not gone through it, I again would highly recommend that. And those of you that have, make sure you fill out the profile on PGA. I'll get to that slide. So one of the things for me personally, I'm going to be turning 60 this Sunday on Father's Day. So I've been around kind of a long time. I've been a PGA member for over 20 some odd years. I know I'm a quarter century member, so that was a few years ago. And my story has always been, since I've started my first school back in 2000, is to try to get the PGA together on at least agreeing upon something. So you go to the next slide. And so what could that have been? And over the years, as being on the committee, that if we could all agree upon something to kind of hang our hat on with the Shield and with the PGA as members, tried to figure out what that would be. As you can see, that I just got this picture, which is a cool picture. One thing which is going to be, I know one thing we can agree upon is that there's a lot of ways to teach a golf swing. There's no one way to swing a golf club. There's certain fundamentals that you'd like to see with your students, but we all on this call teach a different approach, maybe. Some of us have certain common ways that we go about doing it, common ways that we talk, but I know we don't do it all the same way. So it's very difficult to kind of say, okay, what's a good backswing? What's a perfect backswing? Well, you can see here, pick and choose one. So I think what the PG Coach and the ADM model will help us do is just that. A foundation that we can all kind of agree upon, that of how we approach, building our students for life. Next screen, Nikki. So that's where it comes about, where this last catalyst and what the PGA is doing to kind of get us, unite us. I would say that we all can at least say this. We are at different stages in a student's growing career, whether they're old, whether they're young. Here's what is the best practices that we've seen through, a 30-year study with the American development model, which started, next screen, which started in a study through the Olympic, starting with the Olympic, what was my next slide? With the U.S. hockey, with the USA basketball, USA lacrosse, has successfully applied, these things to this this American development model. So through scientific studies over the last, again, 30 years, we've seen that to be able to retain these athletes in their sports for life, these are the things that we did. So they broke it down to the 7 stages. You folks have not seen that yet. And those of you that have gone through this, you folks know, I'm going to go through it just real quickly here. We've broken it down to the physical, psychological development into these 7 stages. And, starting with the very young that we have been doing. I started our Tiny Tees program back in it's probably been 1999. We first started our first Tiny Tees program from a preschool class that I had, wondering how are we going to tell a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old what it's like to swing a golf club. And so it's all kind of done very experimentally, but after 20 years, I think we've done a great job of, and it's been a great program for us, for myself personally, kind of put 3 kids through college, through just this Tiny Tees program that we started, because everybody wanted to see the next Tiger Woods back in those days, since Tiger started when he was 2.5 years of age. And what are those things that we do for those of you that don't teach this age group? It's a lot about fun. It's a lot about, hey, look at that a roly-poly in the grass. It's teaching them, starting the teaching of hand-eye coordination and the athletic skills. So the first part of this is obviously starting their athletic ability. The stage 2, through the fundamentals, and then learning to play the game of golf. One of the neatest programs that we have, and they're combining it, is the junior league, on how that through stage 2 through stage 4, how that really helps the development of these kids on retaining them, as we will see these kids to play the golf for the rest of their life. And the learning curve for this junior league, especially in these stages of stage 2 and stage 3, it's amazing how fast that the kids learn, or faster. What used to take me maybe about 3 months, 3 to 6 months to get them ready to get on a golf course. Right now, it takes about a third of that time, just through the program of the junior league. I've seen that they seem to be more attentive. They seem to retain because they're having more fun. Maybe it's because of the competitive side of it that they start to learn, but also the social side of the game. So the stage 2 and stage 3 have learned to play in that age group there, starting with a bunch of fitness that we started doing since one of my coaches was TPI certified. We started adding that in about 5 years ago when he came on. Some of the parents wondered why we were taking the first 10 minutes doing these types of exercises and fun games for the fitness side of it. And now with all this scientific studies on how we're building athletes, we can now refer to that and says, here's what we have found. So adding those first 5 to 10 minute drills, do all kind of fun kind of things in our programs. Again, we're starting to build athletes. Our stage 4, the play to improve, going to the stage 5 at the ages, as you can see, where they start specializing right around stage 5 in their learning. Girls develop a little bit earlier, mature a little bit earlier. So again, these are the recommended ages, obviously. But one of the things that we do know that we've seen, and thanks mostly to Tiger Woods, Michelle Wie, who I know personally, that started at a very young age and just specialized, or the parents felt like, since Tiger did it, it's just going to be golf. And when I did that with my son when he was 3 years of age, he probably had better skills when Tiger was, when he was at that age, hitting it further, nicer swing, better mechanics, but he was quickly burnt out by age 8. And then eventually, as now that we know, the health problems that correspond to that as well. We saw right now the back problems that Tiger has had, and believed solely on, he started playing the game of golf at 2.5, swung a golf club all those years. I remember starting our junior programs a long time ago, cutting those golf clubs that were donated. The men's stiff shaft clubs cut it down, so they became triple X stiff shafts, about D F weights, and so that's why the swings were so long, the clubs were so heavy. So we quickly today, club fitting is very important to us, even at a very young age. So that's something we learned as well along the way. Tiger really had his back problems, early along in his teens, and it was just after he got in his 20s that he hurt it. And so we're real cognizant of the safety aspect. Our mantra at our golf schools is we learn how to surf, which stands for simplicity, safety, understanding, and then retention, which is the big word right now, is retaining these golfers that are coming in. And then probably the most important is fun. And with that, we've developed our programs around surf. Stage 6, play to win. Real happy about our big win. That turkey there is a board of directors challenge that we do every year. It's a very high honor that I'm very proud of. Play to win. This is where we start getting at least to that level where a lot of you work on. The ones that are going to college and further. Most of us obviously deal with the stages, 1 through 5. Stage 7, play golf for life. And this is where all ages, for mostly who we teach, but the whole process and foundation to these stages can really be applied to everybody. So it's a simple step-by-step process with recommendations with each age group that you work with. And I can be a testament to this whole process from my personal background. I started off this game when I was probably in the stage when I was 18, 19 years of age. I started out. Since I've gotten pretty old, I was looking back at all these pictures that I had, that my mom sent me a cool little picture album from when I was growing up, and started. Baseball was my passion. I wanted to be a baseball player when I was young. I got burnt out on baseball probably about 8 or 9, 10 years of age. Started playing basketball. I was a captain of my basketball team in high school. Everybody was short back then, so I could actually do pretty well. I was also pretty strong. I was actually a state record. I was a state champion in weightlifting, in the clean and jerk, and I held the state record for bench pressing. I was 114 pounds, bench press 285 at the time, clean and jerk 190. Held these records in high school until my brother broke them later on. When I got to college and started playing golf, that was one of the biggest no-nos. Don't lift any weights. That was an absolute no-no in the game. I played football as when I was younger. I was actually in track. I was only 5'5". The high jump 6'1". in our state match, so I could jump pretty high. But when I got to the mainland, everybody was taller, faster, stronger, and I had to play a different sport. So there came in the game of golf. I picked up the game of golf in college, and being an athlete, I picked it up pretty fast. In 2 years, I was able to get my scores down to maybe about a 2 or 3 handicap, shooting about 70, averaging about 75, 76. Walked on to my college golf team at University of Portland and made the team my junior year. And that's when I decided, no lessons. All I did was put up pictures up of Seve Ballesteros in my dorm room and just copied his swing. Back in those days, hitting a big hook, that's how I got to hit the golf ball pretty far. I even had, when I first started playing the game, you folks can see on the screen there, that's a persimmon wood that I started playing with. Tony Penna. This right here, folks can see, might remember, some of you might remember, I know, is Alan on here? Alan Ochiai. This is the J driver, jumbo. It's a jumbo driver from Japan. Hit the ball a long way. And we have come now to, so that's the driver. And now today, as you can see, kind of a big difference. I could hit this club back in those days, back in the 80s, pretty far. Probably at that time, 270, 280 was what the pros were hitting it back in those days, and that was pretty far. If those guys got up to 300, that was pretty amazing at the time. One of my first putters here. Ping putter. You folks know why they end up calling it ping? Those young ones on here, I know you might have heard that sound there. So back in those days, I hit it pretty long ways. My swing wasn't very, at the time, it wasn't very good, but I could play the game of golf. And my short game was really good. I would go ahead and a big inside out swing, hit a nice huge draw, and it went a long ways. And I knew where it was going. It was either going high right or it was going to snap hook left. I could eliminate at the time, I just played one shot pattern, was just a huge draw, just depending on how far left it was going to go. But I could certainly play the game of golf. When I came down to try to play on the mini tours, and this was back playing with Kirk Triplett, Tom Lehman, Sutherland Brothers, back when I came down to California, Paul Goidos, Esteban Toledo. I could play the game, but I couldn't play consistent enough to play multiple rounds. And I was even in contention to win a golf tournament. And I came down to the last hole. Everyone told me that my swing wouldn't hold up under pressure, that type of inside out swing with a big draw. And I didn't listen to anyone because I was beating them. But I did come down to the last hole, and it was all I had to do. If I birdied the hole, I would have won the tournament outright. This was a Golden State Mini Tour. And if I parred the hole, I would have went into a playoff. and I very nicely snap hooked my drive off the tee box. My mentor, Jerry Moles, up in Portland, Oregon. Some of you might know him. He was my first pro back up at Columbia Edgewater. My full name is Randy Quan Lum Chang, and he asked me what my middle name stood for, and we looked it up, and Quan stands for interprets as duck, and Lum is hook. So that made a whole lot of sense now that why I was duck hooking all the shots. So it was Randy Duck Hook Chang. That was my name up in Portland. Going through the hole, I'm gagging, I'm pressuring out, and ended up making bogey on the hole. And then I decided I needed a lesson. At that time, Mark Calcavecchia, even Ben Hogan, Mark Calcavecchia was struggling, and he ended up going from a hook to a fade, and that's when he started playing very well. Ben Hogan also has that similar story. Once he learned how to hit a fade, he started to win a bunch of tournaments. So that's what I decided I had to do. I had to learn how to hit a fade. After playing for now been about 5 years, I needed to go take a lesson. And so I went to, I don't even remember the names, but he was one of the top instructors in Southern California. And he told me, yeah, it'll be good. You got to hit a fade. As everybody knows the saying, a fade. What is that saying again? You can listen. No, a fade will listen. Someone help me.
You can't
talk to a fade, but a hook doesn't listen. So from there, I go ahead and learn how to hit a fade. I was such a good athlete that the very first lesson that I took, I went and hit this beautiful fade. I told him I want to learn how to hit a fade. He said, okay. So I learned how to hit a fade. Beautiful, nice little fade on the range. I get out and try to play. I'm playing on all these tournaments full time. I went out to the tournament. It doesn't work. It doesn't work out on the golf course. So I decided, well, let's go to another instructor. Let's try another instructor. Went to another very well-known instructor. Went out. He taught me just another way to hit a fade. Just a different approach. Going out on the driving range, hitting another beautiful, beautiful fade. Get on the golf course in the tournament. Doesn't work. It's not doing it. So this is in a span of maybe about 3 months. So I went to a third instructor. He said, look, you're playing right now. You can't really change up just hitting a fade all of a sudden. So let's just take that big hook of yours and turn it into a nice little draw. So he shows me how to do it. Great athlete. I'm such a great athlete. Get out there. And I started to hit this beautiful, nice little draw now. A controlled draw. I get up to the golf course. I don't know where this thing is going. I want to hit a fade, it hooks. I want to hit a draw, it fades. And you can't play golf that way, as I discovered. So now going into this, this is when the mental side of the game, sports psychologists were a big boom. Rotella was coming on in. So I know that now this is a mental, I'm becoming a head case now. I go to a sports psychologist. He says, he's teaching me, okay, I'm playing golf, teach me this mental stuff. So the only thing I remember about that class or that session that cost me $100, which was a lot at that time, was he said, I had a hot head. I definitely got angry, and that definitely got in the way. But he said, so when you get angry, take your cup, your Coke cup, open the lid, put all your anger in the cup, close that lid, and throw it away. And I go, I'm paying you for this? I didn't know. I mean, I didn't understand that. Put my anger in a cup and throw it away. So that didn't work. I went to a hypnotist because I am playing. I have 1 year sponsorship money to play. So I go to a hypnotist because I need a quick fix. I went to the class. It was a room full of people. I don't know if anybody's been hypnotized here on this call, but it's pretty cool. Um, I know I got hypnotized, but what I learned I didn't get at the time. Only now I understand what was going on. But I'm in the class. They go through the whole count backwards, breathe, blah blah blah. I start counting back, and then you're totally aware and conscious. It says, imagine there's a helium balloon. You tie that balloon on your wrist. Let that balloon take your hand all the way up, and just imagine the balloon holding your hand up. And so I'm thinking to myself as I'm closing my eyes in this class here again, I don't get it. All right. So I don't get how this is supposed to help me. After he goes about talking and talking, he says, all right, now take a scissors and cut that string. So I cut the string, my hand falls off to my knee. And he says, wake up. So I wake up and I get, okay, so what did that do? Little did I know, and that I was holding my arm up for about 10 minutes. And if you can try this, you can't hold it up for 3 minutes until your arm starts to get tired. And so I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. But again, back then I was in my 20s and I needed a quick fix. I didn't realize the power of visualization and relaxation and all the things that we do today from a mental standpoint. And again, didn't practice any of this stuff. I just needed a quick fix. So as you can see from there, I had a hard time or couldn't play the game anymore. It was it started to get too technical for myself, and I didn't practice that whole mental visualization stuff, which now that we all tell our students. So from there, it was a decision. It's one of our defining moments in our lives to either go to my college degree, which was engineering, and take over the family business. My uncle was an engineer. My stepdad was an engineer. They had their own businesses, or become a golf professional. I should have became an engineer, looking back at this now. But I would have made a lot more money, but I definitely would be as happy and had such a great life up till now. So from there, I became a golf professional, managed the game of golf, wanted to teach, but didn't want to do it full time. I couldn't handle teaching for 8 to 10 hours during the day, so I decided to become a manager. Did that for 15 years. And then the opportunity came about to be where I'm here at today. There's a lot of you on this call right here that, I learned from. I think Alan's here. Alan Ochai was one of those guys that I looked that worked for me at Tustin Ranch. Watched him the way he taught, and learned a lot from my mentors. So this whole PGA.coach, coming from that athletic background, definitely helps. The mental side, as everybody knows, we had some neat things about the brain that we did last chat with Bill McKinney. The combination of those things with the PGA.coach and the continued mental part of the game will just enhance everyone that we come in contact with. And I think as PGA golf professionals, if we can all, again, agree upon some certain things and some certain fundamentals, like what this ADM, what that model does for us, I think we'll all be we'll all be better for it.
Hey, Randy, can I just throw a comment in there? In addition to a lot of this stuff that's coming out, right? So to help you guys from an instruction standpoint, and part of what's in this PGA.coach portal is also a lot of games and tutorials to kind of help with your camps or junior instruction, or every one of these modules. Whether it's learn to play for a lifetime, has accompanying information in it to help you set up a lesson plan. And one of the benefits to this is also they're adding stuff like on a monthly basis. So a lot of coaches from across the country are putting in information there. So it's constantly being updated. And Randy, I'm sure you're going to get to this too, but from a forward-facing standpoint, PGA.com is investing a lot of time, effort, resources to promote you as an ADM certified coach, right? So that's, not only are you gaining insight and information, but you're also getting an opportunity to be featured in an open table, right? I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with an app called Open Table. Yelp is kind of similar. So PGA, the national team is going to be putting out marketing efforts on your behalf as a professional, and basically creating a search site for people to search for you, by zip code or proximity. So, they're going to make a huge push during the PGA Championship in August, right? So if you can imagine, for Heidi, someone is watching the PGA Championship in Carlsbad, and a commercial comes on from the PGA of America and saying, "Hey, you are you interested in becoming better? Would you like to take some lessons? Go to PGA.com, enter in your zip code, and we're gonna put up a list of certified instructors, ADM certified instructors. So if you haven't gone through this training, you won't be able to participate, or you won't be able to publish a profile, right? So that's something that Randy talked about. It's going to be huge, right? So that's going to be a real big thing that your association is doing on your behalf to help promote you and your services. But in order for you to qualify for that, you kind of need to put in the work on your end to make sure that you're qualified and you're able to speak about a lot of the stuff that we're going to be talking about here. And Randy, just real quick, last thing, us as a section, we're also going to be working with our local partners. Take the SCPGA, for example, and we're going to be promoting out that registry, that database, and we're going to be trying to connect with local players here. Obviously, there's thousands of members of the SCPGA who hold a handicap and who are probably looking for PGA professional instruction. So if you're ADM certified, if you have your profile set up on PGA.com, we're hoping to promote you in that way as well. So just wanted to throw that information out there, Randy.
Yeah, that's exactly how was gonna end this is. I always hear from a lot of our members is, or not members, but people that are trying to get into the business, is, what does the PGA do for you? And here's one thing that's measurable. This is something that they do for you, for 3 hours of your time, to get educated about this, which you're going to learn a lot. I'm going to tell you that for the people that have gone through this, I learned a lot, and it also confirmed what I've been doing, and a lot of you there as well. If you look at like what Josh does, what has been doing for a long time, but now finally we're getting to see the things that the successful schools and academies are doing, the successful professionals that are doing this, and it's finally becoming noticed now. We've all been, a lot of us have been doing a lot of these for a little while, but have not, been recognized. And Dan Martin, another one that has been doing a lot of this for a while. So this is what PGA can do, and like what Anthony said, it's big. You go ahead once they get this PGA.com and the followers to come about that. That's a big audience. So that's how the Shield, that PGA Shield, is going to help the PGA on the side of your names. We changed a bunch of things in our programs that we do. If those of you folks don't know, I've got multiple schools. We're going to be opening because of all of this physical fitness stuff. And it's great to kind of see what Bryson DeChambeau did this weekend after a change of his body that for most people would say, no, don't do this stuff. But if he does good at this, it's another plus on the fitness side of it. My school's at Journey Pachanga, the Talega Golf Club. We have the Tiny Tees program specifically at Back Bay Golf Course in Newport. We are also teaching at the PGA Superstore with our Tiny Tees, the 3 to 6 years of age. And we're going to be opening up, we're supposed to have opened up now because of the pandemic, our indoor facility, fitness center here in Laguna called the Lower Sports Lab. So with all of this, it has led to us to be able to expand and get ourselves in contact and relationships with a lot of people through all of our schools. So, I want to share with people that I figure out how am I going to retire now if I'm not teaching. So that's for those of you out there trying to figure that out. Most of you out there, if you don't teach, you don't make any money. And, to be able to go ahead.
Sorry, Randy. I wanted to ask and open up a conversation here for a lot of you. And for those of you who aren't aware as well, so through the PGA.com site profile, not only are they going to promote you, but they're also going to be adding a online registration tool that people can take advantage of, right? So I know that is also a big portion of kind of coaching in the 21st century. If I could have people here on the chat, would you mind just chatting in and answering this question for me? If you are using online registration, would you mind just typing in the chat yes or no? And then I have a second question for you as well. If you have a database, if you mind just put database, yes or no, and then how many people are in your database roughly. If you guys wouldn't mind just typing in this information for us. There you go. Thanks, Heidi. So, this is going to be, again, another component, and Randy hit the nail on the head, right, of what is your association doing for you? You're paying your dues, and we, from a section level and from national level, I know we do a ton as far as education and stuff, and this is just kind of one more piece or component to go on there. So I'm seeing a couple people are chatting in here, yes, no. So 4,000, and my next question to you would be is if you have a database, how often are you in touch with your database? So do you email monthly, weekly? Would you mind just chatting that in so we can kind of get an idea? And this whole thing is kind of moving on to, in this coach chat, these coach chats are wonderful, and especially for technical instruction. But on the player development committee, we've been talking a lot about kind of what that other side of coaching is about, right? So the business side. So I think this is a wonderful segue. And Randy talks about, all of his different schools, and, he talks about the technical side. But one thing that you probably all know in this call is that Randy is a really great business person too, right? So, he started schools and academies all across kind of Southern California or Orange County and the Inland Empire. lastly, I wanted to ask a question of you, and if you guys would be interested in learning a little bit more about the business concepts, would you guys mind just typing yes business or no business? I mean, I think we're looking to shape these chats. And again, moving forward, we have a lot of great technical speakers, a lot of great swing coaches, and a lot of great information. But from a business side, I feel like there might be a little bit room to kind of start a conversation or maybe help people out as well. So, Randy, thanks for letting me for jumping there and ask those questions.
Oh, thanks. And that's going on to again, what I was continuing to say is that now that I'm opening another facility, we're getting a little big where that communication becomes very important, or even more so important, but it's getting too big for me to just handle on my own. So I know like Josh uses, was it MailChimp? I'm going to be doing, I'm going on with Swing U to get my own app, because I feel like that process there, getting there's just more options with that, and the communication is more direct. A lot of times with the emailing right now, it goes into spam folders. It gets lost. People don't look at it. So I am headed that direction. Yes, it is an investment, but I think it's worth it once you folks start getting to certain levels of students that come through your facilities, and I know you folks get a lot, especially right now when we coach in groups. We've got new groups coming in go through the summer where we can maintain communication with everybody all over the world through this type of venue. So I know the PGA is trying to do something as such. I know Nikki can talk to a little bit about it. It's in its infancy stages, and I know it's been delayed because of the pandemic. But anyway, that's another decision that I've made for our schools, because again, we are getting a little bit big, and communication, like you say, is extremely important today.
Yeah, and again, through this whole ADM certification through PGA.coach, this is your entry in, right? So this is why it's really important to get this stuff done. And I think, from PGA side, from our side, I think we're doing a little bit better a job telling that story. But again, everyone on this call, if you're not ADM certified, if you haven't gone through, please do that. Again, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. It's you can break it up into how many segments you want. We're just to give you a little bit of the metrics here. We're like a little bit over 150 professionals out of our section, and we're the leaders, right? Which is a little bit, it's I don't want to say sad, but we could definitely do better, right? So as a section, and really as an association. And again, this whole ADM certification is the gateway into a lot of this technology. It's the gateway into utilizing all of the resources that PGA is putting and investing in our local professionals. So want to, again, just reiterating that. And for those of you who don't have a database and who don't have any online registration capabilities and maybe don't really know how to do it, again, PGA has understood that and has taken the first step in helping those people, and us as a section are going to be kind of the backup there in working with you all. So just want to throw that in there again, Randy.
Thanks. So besides listening to my kind of sob story of my golfing career, anybody else want to share?
Anybody want to talk about how we're getting our programs going again? Like I've got camps going and the numbers you're allowed and how you're doing safety. Like my camps are starting next week and junior league is starting on Friday and my girls golf. So I'm trying to make sure I'm doing it the right way and, you know, following guidelines. And so I'm wondering what everybody else is doing with all that.
I just posted a link. We put up a video on YouTube last week. Josh did. Josh was nice enough to come out and film. So did Randy. So we have a segment on group instruction and kind of what Josh's thought is in regards to keeping everyone safe and kind of how he's going to do it. Randy put a great piece together with individual instruction, how he's doing it. Josh, do you want to kind of give a rundown of that? Maybe you can just give a pause there.
Yeah, no, I think that certainly the gist is, and I'm thinking of it in terms of, starting point is 4-to-1. If I've got 4 kids and myself doing a mini camp program, if you have multiple instructors and you keep magnifying that out, I'm sure people can handle 6-to-1, depends on the instructor. But really just kind of thinking of a group class slash mini camp. I'm not supposed to say group class, organized educational program of some sort. I think that the key, Heidi, just in general, is if you have a staging area that is set up with, I'm using 2 Costco 6-foot tables together. So I have basically a box putting X's on the corner so that each kid is 6 feet away from each other. And just with an assigned seat so that I have a staged area if I'm doing multiple hour programming. So you have that space set up safely. And then I'm just sectioning off driving range and sections of the green where I have individual activities set up more than 6 feet away. And each of those drills, for lack of a better way of saying it, is geared to something different. So I might have I use ropes and actually build holes. So you have par 3s, par 4s, par 5s. With risk reward so that I can take people through a 30-foot putt that turns into a par 4, and then they learn strategies of making decisions within that. Some sort of a short game drill, 3, 5, 7, anything along those lines, a lag putt drill. And then I use this whole system I'm developing with another one of our pros about green reading, which I'll share at a later date. So basically just different activities spaced out, and then I'll have the kids rotating by themselves through those activities so that the setup really allows you to keep the space that you want. And if you do it that way, then I think that the setup that you introduce makes the keeping kids separate much, much easier. And then you're just going to move kids through spatially responsible areas. And that's completely how I'm planning on doing the whole thing. If it's an hour or 2 or 3 or 4, then just spacing out my activities where they go from one station to the other with breaks. And that's pretty much the design.
Hey, Josh, I know you were thinking or contemplating doing some virtual camps. Is that still something you're working on, or?
Yes.
That was
So I've done a lot of polling. I've actually, I think I have 90 or 100 responses from parents at this point. The polling went along the lines of, would you consider virtual? Would you do week-long virtual camps, individual hour segments, just to get a feel for, timelines, concerns, and pretty much across the board, people said that they would entertain the idea of doing a virtual camp. It wouldn't be their wish. Certainly a lot of negative experiences from people in the Zoom format from their, in-class education time. So I actually spent a lot of time talking to teachers as well. My brother is a middle school teacher. I have a couple friends who are elementary school teachers. And where I'm going to start the virtual program is with 1-hour segments and not turn it into a big, long deal where I'm trying to keep kids for a full day. But I'm going to do a 9 to 10 a.m. Zoom class, and I have a specific curriculum that I'm going to do where from my computer, I have 25 squares on my computer at a time. So I'm going to max my class at 24 kids so I can see everybody in the Zoom session, and then have a specific hour curriculum with trivia questions for prizes, physical warm-up using ADM, all these kinds of things, in-house game, a golf-specific drill. And I'm just going to basically have the kids be active with exercises, golf specific things, memory games, and just a bunch of puzzles, different kinds of things, golf and non-golf related. And I'm going to run them through an action-packed hour where we don't sit down, we don't stop. If the parent looks over, we're going to, that kid's going to be completely engaged, and then that's it. So I don't lose attention span. And I'm going to build those 1 hour a week and try that to start with. If there's a greater demand, I have other instructors on hand, or I'll build out the schedule. And I'm just going to start it in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one of the things that we're coming out of this this pandemic with a lot of cool stuff. It forced our hands to think differently. It solved some problems too. I think just from the golf course management side of it, that the age-old problem of pace of play was fixed by the pandemic. We're going to be learning, a lot of things on single riding, a little bit wider tee times and those type of things that we're forced to do, and we learned some. There's going to be a lot more done on this, virtual side from the teaching. Online instruction now becomes even more important, and I'm going to get more into that. We can, with, like you said, with Zoom, you can have group lessons. Never done that before. So a lot of neat things that I've taken out of all this, and thanks to all of you as well. So hopefully you've taken away some things today with my story and the things that we're doing at my schools. And hopefully we can continue learning from each other. We'll be doing this bi-weekly again. And if there's nothing else, we'll start to see everybody on the golf course. Anthony, you got anything to add? Thank you.
No, just wanted to thank everyone for being on the call. And again, just remind everyone, if you can, make sure you get that ADM certification done. Obviously, we want to continue being a leader across the country and with those numbers, and look forward to sharing more information and to promoting all of you when we have it. So thanks, Randy.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Tom, if you're still there, would you be willing to do a virtual tic-tac-toe with me in front of the kids at one of the Zoom classes?
I'll do anything you'd like.
All right.
I want to watch that putt over again, and I'll challenge you on that putt you did on the demo. That's for sure.
He likes to win, Josh. It doesn't matter if he's playing against kids or his staff or his family. I mean, it's no holds barred. So just disclaimer there.
Oh, I got that. The thing will be completely rigged. He has no chance.
Can't wait.
Thanks, everybody.
Randy.
Thanks, Randy.
And Anthony. Appreciate you guys' time and
Thanks,
all the information.
Randy, Duck Hook, Chang.
Thanks, Randy, and everybody.
Thanks. Hey,
We'll stay in touch.
Tom, I should have asked you to show your golf club that you're still using. Like, I think it's the Cleat.
Sorry, I can't hear you. The sound's off.
Thanks, guys. Be well.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. Talk
Bye.
to you soon. Bye.